Very good morning, student. This is Rakesh Gagneja from Lerpur Khalsa College of Engineering. So the name of the subject is PPS and the subject code is BTPS 10118. So this is probably the video in which we'll discuss about some of the other important questions. Although we have studied the videos of the important question from this week onwards, so we have already finished our whole syllabus and the whole course, what we are supposed to do. Now, some of the important terms. The first important thing which we are going to discuss is the conditional statements in C. Now, the first thing which comes in our mind whenever we are discussing about the condition is something which needs to evaluate and something which can either be true or which can be false. Okay. In a C program, C programs are executed sequentially. Okay. This will only happen when we don't have any conditions in between our path. Okay. We can say the sequential set of statements are going to be executed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So there are certain conditions, certain requirements, uh, certain necessary things in which we need to put some code, some condition for a block of statements. Okay. And the flow of the execution might change because definitely the result which is going to be evaluated by the condition, the result may be true or may be false. So we are ready for both the results. When it's true, then that state that this particular block is executed, and if false, then this is going to be executed. Some of in some books, in some cases, it might be called as the decision making in C. Okay. Or they can also be called as the control statements in C. So they effectively control the flow of the statement. Okay. So although we have finished that thing, we know how to tackle with such type of statements, how the statements are going to be executed, what are the various syntax, what are the effective programs of those particular things. But still, in this particular video lecture, we'll start with certain statements. Okay. The first statement. No, if you remember from the day one to day one when we have started the PPS, and then we have just moving forward. The moment we have started the if statement, then from that day to till date, I don't find there is any program in which we have not used the if statement. Okay. If you just recall all those programs which we have done in classroom lecture, or those programs which we have finished in theory lecture, in the practical part, or we have finished in the video lecture, I don't find any program in which we have not used if statement. This is the most powerful statement. Okay. This is responsible for modifying the flow of execution of the problem. Take execution of the program. Definitely, if statement is always used with a particular condition, as you can see, if condition. Okay. And then we are going to evaluate that particular condition. Okay. And then if the condition comes true, then the instructions are going to be executed. Okay. The conditions always evaluates to either true or false. The true, what do you mean by the true? True always means a non-zero value. Okay. The false is a value which contains zero. Okay. The instructions can be a single line of instructions, a single instruction or code block, in which enclosed by the braces, or maybe any of the things. But the only thing which we need to keep in mind is that conditions should be evaluated first. Okay. If it comes true, then it is going to be executed. We have done the numerous program of if statement. For example, if you remember to check the greatest of two numbers, we have used that particular statement. Okay. uh, so so this is basically, in this particular video, we are just focusing on the important part, and I will just touch that particular part. Okay. The depth of the part has already been finished, and you are 100% aware about that particular thing. Okay. Good. Hope the concept is clear up to this point of view. Okay. So but the only thing which you need to do is, if you just look at the if statement, okay, this is the syntax, and try to formulate a program of any program using if statement on a piece of paper. If you remember the sum of two programs, how we have performed the sum of two programs, we have initialized two variable with number one, number two, with the values one and two, or maybe any of the value. Then we have test expression to check whether the number is smallest and which of the number is largest. Then we have the relational expression. If construct we have used, the value of the number one is smaller than the number two, then the collection will evaluate to that particular extent. Then it will print the statement of the block after it, and the control will grow outside the block. All those things which we have already discussed will definitely need to become in your mind. Okay. So next statement is if else statement. Okay. So first we need to understand the difference between if and if else statement. If else is a statement, we can say, which is the extended version of if statement. Okay. The general form of if else statement is, uh, if the you can see, if the value of the test expression is true, then the true block of statement will be executed. If the test expression is false, then the false block of statement will be executed. Okay. If there is any case after the execution, the control will automatically transfer to the statement which is definitely outside the block of it. Okay. So the text boolean expression, or we can say the text expression, is something which will definitely decide the flow, and which will decide which statement is going to be executed, the if part or else part. Okay. So for example, if we want to check, if we have the two if we have a number and we have declared a number as 22, and we want to check that the whether a particular number is less than 10 or not, then what we will do, we will just put a condition: if number less than 10, then we'll just open the braces and write the value is print will print the value less than 10, else the value is greater than 10. No, why we are not using the why we have not developed the program over there, or why we are not discussing the program and output of that particular thing, because that thing we have already discussed, we have implemented in both theory as well as the practical part, and moreover we have also finished some of the aspects in the assignment one part. Okay. So you just need to recall that concept and frame that concept into a piece of paper, and try to compile that program, and just try to furnish all those things. Okay. Just I'll repeat it again. The first block, is of if block. Okay. If the value of the text expression is true, then the first block is going to be executed, else the second block. Okay. This block second block contains the statement which will be executed if the value of the first text expression becomes false. Okay. And obviously, the condition will depend upon the value which we have input, maybe the first and second. The only thing which, for example, if you remember, many of the times we are dealing with the arrays, we have used if statement. Many of the time we are dealing with the functions, we have imparted if statement into it, and all the things are going hand in hand with each other. Okay. So that's why these are the important concepts of C. So whenever we are going for the software development, whenever we are using any framework, all these things, if else next, things will remain same. There is nothing which is going to be changed in it. Okay. It will become more wider, but the basic concept, the naturality of these statements will definitely remain same. So these are the basic fundamentals if we are going to develop any of the statement. Okay, guys. So now just try to write the program of find whether we are eligible to vote or not. Okay, we know that the person is eligible for voting if his or her age is greater than 18. Okay. So if your age is greater than 18, then you are eligible for vote, else you are not eligible for vote. You are supposed to develop that particular program. Okay. Now, next we have nested if else statement. If you can see, now, now, whenever there is a situation when we have, you can say the series of decisions are required. At that time, we'll use nested if else statement, and the meaning of the nesting means one if else in construct with another one. What do you mean by that? If you just look, if there is a, so now we have defined two test expression, if test expression 1, and then we have defined test expression 2. Okay, now there is a statements. Now, one, when this statement is going to be executed, just listen to me carefully. This statement, the statement block is going to be only executed when expression 2 becomes true. Okay, and you know the value of the true means it will return 1 in order to understand. And when the expression 2 is going to be evaluated, when expression 1 is going to be true. Expression 1 is going to be true, we'll evaluate 2, and the 2 is going to be true, we'll evaluate that particular statement. And if the test expression 1 doesn't become true, then else part is going to be executed. Okay, okay. No, this is nested if else. Sometimes we need to be very careful with the, you can say, while we are using the nested if else, because multiple if else constructs are involved in the process, so it becomes difficult to, sometimes it becomes difficult to figure out the individual constructs. Okay, but if we have the proper indication, then it becomes easy to read that particular program. Okay, getting my point, guys? So the things are very easy. We have finished, we have implemented all those things. Only thing is just we want you to recall that particular concept and implement that concept in the more better way. From the paper, from university, from examination point of view. Okay. So so we have done the program related to this all already. So for example, just remember, just okay. Now uh, uh, I will let you know the program, and you will try to develop the program. For example, in order to implement that program, what we can do, we'll just initialize a variable. We have initialized any of the variable, and then we have put a conditions. Okay, so for example, if we have declared a variable number or a variable, and we have decided a value, we have initialized a variable to 1, and in the next condition, if test expression 2, we write if the number is equal to, if that particular variable is equal to 1, then it will print the value is equal to 1, else it will print value greater than 1, and the last part will just print out the value is greater than 10. So this is something which we have already done. So whenever the value is equal to 1, so in the first condition, if the value is less than 10, condition becomes true, yes. In the second condition, value is equal to 1, yes, because we have initialized that variable to 1, and the value is going to be print. The value is 1. Getting my point, guys? So this is how it's going to be implemented. Next, we have else if later. So now, why, what is, why why it is required else if later? No? In else if later we have provided the various conditions. Okay, the value from the variable will definitely compare with the first condition, and then it compares with the second condition, and then compare with the last condition. The process will go until the expression is evaluated. Okay, otherwise the control will flow out of the else if ladder, and in any case, if we want, we can print default statement. Okay, this is what is going to be happen in else if ladder. If you remember, we have developed a program in which We ask the student to enter your marks. If your marks greater than this, then you got this particular grade. If your marks greater than this, then you got this grade. And if your marks greater than this is, if you remember algebra ladder, we have explained with the example of that there is a ladder over there, and then we need to change a tube light, and then we are in the second ladder. That particular example, if you remember, the same thing which we have done in our class. Okay, so in order to, this is basically decision making process, you can say. Okay, so now the summary of today's lecture. The decision making and branching statements are used to select one path based on the result of, please say with me, based on the result of evaluated expression. Obviously the main thing which will help us to go forward is expression. Some in These are also called control statements because it controls the flow of execution of a particular program. Yes, you are right. If else construct for decision making statements. Okay, we can also do nesting in if else statement with another when multiple path has to be tested. Okay, the else if letter is used when we have to check the various ways based upon the result of particular expression. Okay, the hope student, this lecture is clear up to this point of view. Okay, so be safe, happy learning. If you have any doubts, please feel free to ask. Thank you.